friends and neighbours, my name is Strange Fish, but if you're feeling friendly, you can call me Feety. Today I thought I'd do a little list of all the horror movies that are coming up in January and February. I might even say a few words about them, if my brain functions. It's going to be a strange one for horror movies this year, with 4 based on children's characters or children's books. 5 if you count Fear Street, because that was for teens, I think. And yes, you did see a Bambi horror movie in the mix there. We have a Dracula, a Wolfman, and 2 Frankensteins. A movie based on a video game that is itself a movie. 3 blasts from the past, 3 franchises that have already gone on too long, and 3 sequels to movies that probably didn't need sequels. So expect a lot of no such thing as an original idea comments, which itself is an unoriginal thing to say. But we do have some standalone movies that may remain standalone depending on how much money they make. And a nice looking animation from the creators of Coraline called Wildwood. Does that count as a horror? I'm counting it. But now let's begin with the time-honoured way of starting a year, January. Today is the 13th of January, and aren't you glad that you're not sitting in the cinema watching Neverland Nightmare? Well, I am. I don't know how you feel about it, because I don't have a brain scoop handy. Will I watch this eventually when it comes onto streaming and I no longer have to pay for it? Probably. My curiosity often gets the best of me, and I do love a strange horror movie. But it is from the brain of Rhys Frake Wakefield, who is, of course, the Pooh Man.
A Pooey Man.
And by that I mean the brain behind the Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey films. So, that tells you all you need to know. The synopsis on IMDb simply says, Wendy Darling strikes out in an attempt to rescue her brother Michael from the clutches of the evil Peter Pan. Along the way she meets Tinkerbell, who will be seen taking heroin, believing that it's pixie dust. It's a rescue mission and Tinkerbell is a druggie. That synopsis is about as half-hearted as I expect the film to be. Which is a bit of a shame, because Peter Pan kind of lends itself to horror movie-ness. Peter's freaky. He steals children. He promises them magical adventures and pixies and fairies and all the lovely things, and he steals them. He'd say, hey, come and look at my puppies monster that parents warn their kids about. And that's even before Disney got their hands on him and gave him this face. Now I know he's kind of based on a real person, but the real person didn't look this evil. This is a Disney additive. And like most Disney additives, it's harmful to children. So on to the trailer. Oh boy, the trailer. Remember those TikToks where people pretended to be the Joker and were clearly huffing their own fumes? Well, imagine one of them made a movie. From the trailer, I don't see any magic or supernatural elements. It looks more like a kidnapper slasher. Be prepared for gore. It's kind of like the Black Phone and the Dark Knight shoved into a blender, with an Evil Dead trapdoor thrown in for good measures. Because who doesn't have one of those in their house, am I right? As a standard slasher it looks, alright. I do question the voice our villain chooses though. Part Mickey Mouse and part Kylo Ren.
Hi Peter, it's nice to meet you.
Who wants to come to Neverland with me?
If there's no actual Neverland and just a crazed man's delusions, I'll be slightly disappointed. Nothing wrong with a film like that, loosely based on the story, but when you invoke the name of Peter Pan, I expect some fairy dust, and not the sniffy kind. I also find it funny when films like this credit the original author. I mean, of course they have to, but I do wonder what J.M. Barrie and A.A. Milne would think of all of this. Due out on the 17th is The Wolfman. There are lots and lots and lots of versions of The Wolfman, and I mean literally The Wolfman, not just werewolf movies in general. Probably even enough to warrant their own video if I can come up with enough decent words to fill it. It's one of those stories that's just forever being retold and probably will go on being retold forever. And why not? It's a classic old movie monster that people like to put their own spin on. And this time it is the turn of Lee Whannell. Now you might know him from the Saw movies and Insidious, but my personal favourites are, of course, The Invisible Man and Cooties. If you haven't seen Cooties, here is your recommendation to go and watch it. I can wait if you want to come back and finish the video later. You ever feel like they put too much in the trailers? I kind of wanted to go and see this film, but now I feel like I already have. The Wolfman is a story that's been told time and time again. It's the story of a tortured man transforming into a beast he can't control. He's a very sad, miserable, sympathetic creature. But the trailer looks like it's going to be majority wolf equals bad, and they're focusing more on the family than him. I suppose the sympathy and torture will come from mother and daughter watching him change and trying to escape him. But I like a werewolf story, so I'm looking forward to it. I will be interested to see what they do with this established character. And now that Lee Whannell's got the Invisible Man and the Wolfman under his belt, maybe he'll go on to add more classic creatures to his filmography and do what the Dark Universe couldn't. January the 30th is going to bring us our second children's character horror movie with Steamboat. A late-night boat ride turns into a desperate fight for survival in New York City when a mischievous mouse becomes a monstrous reality. Can a motley crew survive a killer creature with a taste for tourists? I know I shouldn't subject myself to films like this. They are so often a letdown. But sometimes you can find a real gem. If the person making the movie knows what they're doing and has a decent enough sense of humour about it and doesn't take themselves too seriously, then they can be great. I can't help smiling a bit when I see films like this pop up on the radar. I know, I'm a sucker. I mean, this one's not Reese Frake Wakefield. Did I say that right? It's not Pooh Man. So we're already off to a good start. But really, who knows? I'm just curious to see if they've kept the high-pitched squeaky voice. That was a terrible attempt at a Mickey. The last confirmed film for January is on the 31st, and it is Companion. Now, the synopsis confuses me a little bit when I then watch the trailer because they don't seem to connect. It says, a billionaire's death sets off a chain of events for Iris and her friends during a weekend trip to his lakeside estate. But the trailer definitely gives a very different idea. A sci-fi psychological thriller, my first thought when I saw the trailer was quirky. And I didn't mean that in a nice way. I meant it in the this film thinks it's quirky, doesn't it? It's the, oh, what am I like kind of thing. But I thought that was a bit unfair of me. I didn't watch it properly. I didn't even really pay attention to it properly. So I gave it another watch, because fair's fair. Judge not, lest ye be judged. So I did. I gave it another watch. And, yeah, quirky. But maybe more fun quirky than I was giving it credit for. It's a thriller, but with elements of comedy in it. And it's the story of a young woman who seems to be a sex bot. But she doesn't know it. And then she finds out. And there's murderous revenge. It definitely piques my interest, so I'm putting it in the we'll try to make it to the cinema to see it column. I should start putting things in columns. Yeah, I know I wrote this earlier, and I could have put the columns thing in from the beginning of the video because I already knew about it, but this is the point when writing that I actually thought about the columns, so this is the point that I'm adding them. So, Neverland Nightmare I'm putting firmly in the wait till it's free column. I ain't paying for that. The Wolfman and Steamboat will go in the if I have time and money column, otherwise known as maybe, because I'm not that fussed about them. But Companion might be one that's worth braving the outside world and going and sitting my butt in a cinema where other people might be. On to February. We only have 2 confirmed films for February, The Monkey and Vicious. I'm just going to read this one and put omniscience on. The Monkey is based on a Stephen King short story and follows twins, Hal and Bill, played by Theo James, who unleash a string of nasty deaths after finding their dad's toy monkey in the attic. Exactly how a toy monkey can cause such horrific deaths we shall find out. Or maybe we won't. Do Stephen King films ever make sense? I don't know. I like them, but I rarely try to make sense of them. The twins try and get rid of the toy and go about their lives. But years later, more deaths happen that can only be toy monkey related, so they have to get together to rid the world of it once and for all. The trailer starts with a very over-the-top voiceover. That was too many overs. And I had my dubious face on. For the record, my dubious face looks pretty much like my every other face, because I lack the capacity for expression. But internally I was scrunching, like this. Any of those look dubious? But as it goes on, it starts to get fun. Maybe a touch of Final Destination in the possible, ooh, how they're going to die this time kind of way. I think I want to see this, which makes this the second film to go in our, ooh, I think I want to see this column, which yes, I did just rename. Vicious is out round about the 28th of February. Oddly, I couldn't find a trailer for this one, or much information about it. So all I really have is some basic info. It stars Dakota Fanning and is directed by Brian Bertino, the director of The Strangers. That's The Strangers, the Liv Tyler one, before they added chapter to the title and decided it was a franchise. Not everything needs to be a franchise, you know. According to IMDb, it's about a woman who spends the night fighting for her existence as she slips down a rabbit hole contained inside a gift from a late-night visitor. And if that didn't clear things up for you, I don't blame you. But I did like The Strangers, and it sounds puzzly enough to be interesting. So until I can confirm my feelings with a trailer, I'm putting this in the if I have time and money column. That seems fair without more info. I didn't write an outro, because why would you do something as sensible as that? So this is my abrupt ending. Goodbye. No, wait, I've thought of something. You know how these people at the end of their videos are always saying, hey, let's get to 1 million likes, let's get to 1,000 likes. Well, just for a bit of fun, let's see if we can get all the way up to 3 likes. I know that's a big ask, and if you leave a like, maybe leave a comment as well just to let me know, because sometimes YouTube doesn't tell me that people liked it. I don't know what this is. Triple bunny ear. But that seems to be all my brain has to say, so